Have you ever really stopped to think about what's going on inside you right this second? We usually think of blood as, just some red liquid. But it is so much more than that. It's actually a living, complex system, a highly specialized A-team of microscopic heroes working round the clock to keep you alive. So let's zoom in and meet the team.
So if we could shrink ourselves down and dive into just one single drop of your blood, what would we actually see? I'll tell you, it's not just one thing. It's an entire ecosystem, a bustling metropolis filled with different cells and substances, and every single one has a critical mission to carry out.
And here's the breakdown. As you can see, blood is mostly this yellowish liquid called plasma. That's about 55% of it. Then, making up almost all of the rest, about 45%, are your red blood cells. And then, look at that tiny little sliver, less than 1%. Squeezed in there are the white blood cells and platelets. For the next few minutes, this chart is going to be our roadmap as we meet every member of the team.
Let's start with the world they all live in, the plasma. Now, this isn't just some filler fluid. You got to think of it as the essential infrastructure, the liquid highway that lets the rest of the team get exactly where they need to go.
At its core, plasma is about 90% water. But the real magic is in everything else that's dissolved in that water. It's the ultimate transport medium, carrying everything from nutrients and hormones to cellular waste. So if blood is the river of life, well, plasma is the water that makes the river flow.
And dissolved in that plasma are some crucial proteins. You've got albumin, which is the most common, and its main job is to keep the water pressure just right so fluid doesn't leak out of your blood vessels. Then there are globulins, which act like taxis for other substances, and, importantly, include your antibodies. And then there's fibrinogen. Now remember that name, he's on standby for emergencies, and we'll be meeting him again later.
Okay, floating around in that plasma highway are the absolute workhorses of your blood, the red blood cells, or erythrocytes, if you want to get fancy. Just think of them as the body's ultimate delivery crew, a massive fleet on a single vital mission to transport oxygen.
And the scale of this delivery operation is it's staggering. Get this. In 1 single milliliter of your blood, that's a tiny drop, you'll find around 5 billion red blood cells. That is more than half the number of people on planet Earth in one little drop.
But let's zoom in even further. Inside every single one of those 5 billion cells, you'll find the actual cargo-carrying machinery, about 250 million molecules of a special protein called hemoglobin.
So what's the total payload? Well, let's do the math. Each of those 250 million hemoglobin molecules can carry 4 oxygen molecules. That means a single red blood cell can transport over 1 billion molecules of oxygen. Now multiply that by the trillions of red blood cells in your body, and you start to get a sense of the sheer power of this internal A-team.
And that key player, the one doing all the heavy lifting, is hemoglobin. It's this amazing protein built around an iron atom. And it's that iron that literally grabs onto oxygen in your lungs and, this is the important part, lets it go in the tissues that need it most. Oh, and as a cool side effect, it's that iron-oxygen connection that gives blood its signature red color.
This also shows you why balance is so critical. If you have too few red blood cells, or if they're not working right, you get anemia. Your body's oxygen delivery service is basically understaffed. On the flip side, if you have too many red blood cells, that's called polycythemia. And that makes your blood thick and sludgy, kind of like having way too many delivery trucks on the highway, causing a massive traffic jam.
One last cool fact about this crew, they all wear uniforms. Your blood type, whether it's A, B, AB, or O, is just determined by different markers, called antigens, on the surface of your red blood cells. They're like little ID badges that tell your immune system, hey, I'm one of the good guys, I belong here.
All right, next up, let's meet that tiny but mighty 1% group from our chart. These are the white blood cells, or leukocytes. These are the mobile units of your immune system. They're your security team, your intelligence agents, and your special forces all rolled into one.
The first member of this defense force is the neutrophil. These are the frontline infantry, the absolute first responders on the scene of an infection. They are what we call phagocytic experts, which is really just a fancy way of saying their job is to find invading bacteria and literally eat them.
Then you've got the B lymphocytes. Think of these guys as the intelligence agents. They don't always jump into the fight directly. Instead, they produce these highly specific proteins called antibodies. These antibodies are like little homing beacons that lock onto an invader and mark it for destruction by other members of the team.
And that brings us to the T lymphocytes. If the B cells are the spies who tag the enemy, the T cells are the elite assassins who take them out. They are trained to hunt down your own body's cells that have been compromised. Say they're infected with a virus or have become cancerous, and they destroy them directly by releasing chemicals that literally punch holes in them.
And that brings us to our final team member, the platelets, also known as thrombocytes. Now, these aren't even whole cells, they're actually just small fragments. But do not let their size fool you, they are the body's on-call 24/7 emergency repair crew. Their one and only mission is to stop you from bleeding.
The second a blood vessel gets damaged, they launch a rapid, three-step mission. First, the vessel itself spasms, tightening up to reduce the blood flow. Second, platelets swarm the area to form a temporary plug. And finally, a process called coagulation kicks in, turning that temporary patch into a solid, durable clot.
And how they build that plug is just genius. When a vessel tears, a protein called collagen gets exposed. Platelets are immediately drawn to it and stick. This activates them, making them change shape to get all spiky and sticky, and, critically, they release a chemical distress signal that screams, "Hey, get over here," calling even more platelets to the site and creating a massive, rapid chain reaction.
But a sticky pileup of platelets isn't strong enough on its own. It needs to be reinforced. So remember our old friend fibrinogen from the plasma? Well, this is its moment to shine. A special enzyme converts that soluble fibrinogen into long, stringy, insoluble strands of fibrin. These strands create a mesh, like a net, that traps everything and forms the strong, solid foundation of the clot.
And this really brings us back to the big picture, doesn't it? All of these different elements, the oxygen couriers, the defense force, the repair crew, they're all suspended together in their plasma highway, evenly dispersed and ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. They are a perfectly coordinated mobile unit of defense, delivery, and repair. And to keep this whole incredible operation running, your body is constantly manufacturing new parts. Get this, it produces 2 to 3 million new red blood cells every single second. Just take a moment and let that sink in. Isn't it just incredible what your internal A-team accomplishes flawlessly every moment of every day without you